The movie opens with a woman who has a strange habit. Every time she boards a plane, she deliberately avoids wearing her seatbelt. The flight takes off smoothly, everything feels calm. She rests her head on her husband's shoulder, slowly drifting to sleep. It's supposed to be a sweet journey, but then, without warning, something feels off. Another aircraft is suddenly on a collision path with theirs. Within seconds, the plane is hit by violent turbulence, shaking uncontrollably. She wakes up in panic, turning toward the window, but before her mind can even process it, a section of the plane tears apart. Chaos erupts instantly. Passengers are thrown into panic, the cabin breaking apart around them. Her husband tries to hold on to her, trying to save her, but because she isn't wearing a seatbelt, the force of the air pressure violently pulls her away. She's ripped backward in an instant. There's no time to react. Somehow, she manages to grab onto a nearby seat, but the danger isn't over. Another explosion hits a different section of the plane, and now the rear of the aircraft begins to disintegrate completely. She struggles to stand, her body out of control, everything spinning. Within moments, the remaining structure of the plane collapses, separating them completely. Right in front of her eyes, her husband disappears into the chaos. But there's no time to grieve. The plane is plummeting fast, and the violent air pressure feels like it's tearing her body apart. The situation is now completely out of control. Death feels seconds away, and yet she refuses to give up. Fighting with everything she has, she somehow manages to make her way back toward her seat. The plane is now deep inside thick clouds, visibility almost zero. Sitting there, trembling, she tries to calm herself, but the aircraft is still dropping rapidly. The ground is getting closer. There's no escape left. After some time, she regains consciousness, disoriented. The crash has already happened. As she looks around, she sees the wreckage scattered everywhere. Slowly, she tries to move, but a sharp pain shoots through her body. She looks down. A metal rod is lodged deep into her leg. For a moment, fear takes over, but she knows she can't stay here, not like this. And this is where things take a brutal turn. She makes an unthinkable decision. Grabbing the rod with shaking hands, she tries to pull it out. The pain is unbearable. Her body trembles violently, her grip slipping. She pauses, trying to gather courage. Then, she tries again. With everything she has left, she pulls the rod out of her leg. Her scream echoes through the forest around her. After some time, barely conscious, she tears a piece of cloth from her skirt and tightly wraps her wound, trying to stop the bleeding. But she's losing strength. Still, she forces herself to stand. She calls out for help, again and again. But the forest answers with silence. Then suddenly she notices a figure nearby. Hope sparks. She moves closer, but the moment she touches it, she realizes it's a lifeless body. She stumbles back in shock. Her wound continues to bleed, her body weakening rapidly, and eventually, she collapses unconscious on the ground. Somewhere else, the military has already received news of the crash, and rescue operations are being prepared. Back in the forest, a mosquito bite brings her back to consciousness, and then she hears it, a helicopter. Hope returns instantly. Without wasting a second, she grabs a scarf from a nearby body, and barely able to stand, starts moving toward the sound. Step by step, struggling through pain, she reaches an open area, waving desperately at the helicopter. But the pilots don't see her, they fly past. And just like that, her hope shatters again. Slowly, she turns back toward the forest. But then, something small catches her attention. A toy teddy bear lying in the grass. It seems meaningless, but this is where survival instincts kick in. Seeing it reminds her of something. A survival trick she once learned during a camping trip with her husband. She removes a small metal tag from the toy, rubbing it against her clothing, trying to create a makeshift compass. After a short wait, she places it on a leaf, and finally identifies the right direction. Now she has a path. She reaches a riverbank, drinks some clean water, and fills a plastic bag to carry with her. Then she returns briefly to the wreckage, takes a jacket from another body, and continues her journey. Now, it's just her, a bag of water, and a wooden stick to support herself. Moving through the dense forest, she stays alert. Danger could be anywhere. Her injured leg, her weak body, everything is slowing her down. Hunger starts to take over, but she survives only on water, conserving every bit of energy. Time passes. She doesn't even know how much. Eventually, she reaches an open area, but just as things seem slightly better, she steps into a swamp. Instantly, she starts sinking. Panic kicks in as she struggles, but the ground around her is too weak. There's nothing to grab. This is it. One wrong move, and she's gone. With one final effort, she stretches her hand upward and grabs onto a tree branch. Using every ounce of strength left, she slowly pulls herself out of the swamp. Exhausted, she collapses on solid ground, breathing heavily, and eventually falls asleep. After some time, she wakes up again. She knows now. To escape the forest, she has to climb a mountain ahead. With her injured leg, it's nearly impossible, but she has no choice. Using her stick, she begins the climb. Step by step, pain, exhaustion, everything hits her at once. Just as she nears the top, she suddenly slips and falls back down. Her body is completely drained, and for a moment, she breaks. This wasn't supposed to be her honeymoon. She doesn't even know if her husband is alive. Memories of their time together flood her mind, and instead of breaking her completely, they give her a reason to keep going. She refuses to quit. Gathering her last strength, she starts climbing again. And finally, after a long struggle, she reaches the top. But right there, something unexpected is waiting. Not far from her, a dangerous tiger is lying still, her breath freezing freezes. Slowly, she tries to back away, quietly, carefully, but the tiger notices her, and now she has to run. The tiger charges after her. Her wound opens again, but stopping isn't an option. The distance between them is shrinking fast, and suddenly, her foot slips. She falls into a deep pit. The tiger reaches the edge, looks down, and then walks away. For the first time in a while, she's safe. She climbs out, continues moving forward, facing more obstacles, more dangerous terrain. But she keeps going. And then, from a height, she looks down and sees something that makes her scream in relief, her plane. But when she reaches closer, she realizes it's across a river. Determined to find her husband, she steps into the freezing water. But the current is too strong. It pulls her away, dragging her through the icy flow. Barely managing, she grabs onto a large rock and saves herself. Eventually, she reaches the wreckage area again. Searching desperately, she finds a body. But it's not what she hoped. The condition is so bad, she can barely look at it. Then, by pure luck, she finds something. A signal gun, with 2 flares. Without thinking, she fires one into the sky. Silence. No response. Now she understands. She needs to get to a higher place. With only 1 flare left, she starts moving again. Her clothes are completely drenched, the freezing temperature creeping deep into her body. Every step feels heavier now, like her strength is slowly slipping away. She reaches a tree and stops, just for a moment, trying to catch her breath. And that's when she notices something hanging from a branch. A bag. She pulls it down carefully, and the moment she opens it, her heart stops. It belongs to her husband. Inside, she finds a few personal items, and some sketches he had made. Simple drawings, but full of life. Full of him. For a second, everything goes quiet. The pain, the fear, it all fades behind those memories. And right here, something changes. That small connection gives her strength again. She tightens the cloth around her wounds, steadies herself, and decides she's not done yet. She's going to find him, no matter what it takes. Moving forward with renewed determination, she pushes through the forest once again. Her steps are slow, unsteady, but now there's purpose behind them. And then, finally, not too far ahead, she sees something. A deep pit in the ground. She moves closer, her heart racing, and inside it, she sees her husband. After 3 days and 3 nights of constant struggle, pain, and survival, she finally finds him. Without hesitation, she drops her bag and jumps down into the pit. As she reaches him, her hands trembling, she pulls his body close, and for the first time, the emotions she held back completely break through. Tears fill her eyes. But even in that moment, she stays quiet. No screaming, no panic, just silence and grief. From her bag, she takes out their wedding ring and gently places it back onto his finger, a quiet, final gesture. Then she rests her head on his chest, as if, just for a moment, she can pretend he's still there. Exhaustion takes over, and she falls asleep beside him. Time passes, then suddenly, a sound. A helicopter. Her eyes snap open. For a second, hope rushes back in. This could be it. This could be her way out. But when she turns, reality hits again. Her husband's body is now completely cold, gone, and this time, it breaks her. She looks up at the sky and lets out a scream. Not just of pain, but of everything she's been holding inside. Above her, the helicopter begins scanning the area. The rescue team is close, but they don't know she's here. This is her last chance. She wipes her tears, takes a deep breath, and makes a decision. She's going to live. After a final goodbye, she gathers whatever strength she has left and begins climbing out of the pit. It looks small from above, but in her condition, it feels impossible. But she doesn't stop, because now she has a reason. With one final push, she pulls herself out. She grabs the signal gun, aims it toward the sky, and fires the last flare. The bright signal cuts through the air. This time, it's seen. After everything she's been through, help is finally on the way. She collapses, completely drained, but alive. The story ends with her surviving alone in that brutal wilderness for 3 days and 3 nights. Against all odds, she makes it out alive. But her husband, he never leaves that place. And this is where the story hits even deeper. Because this isn't just fiction. This is based on a real incident from 1981, when a Soviet military aircraft collided mid-air with a passenger plane. Out of 38 people on board, 37 lost their lives. She was the only survivor.